Yeah, I feel like whenever I'm put on like the spot, like all the information that I once knew is now gone.
Yeah, because people will be like, "Oh, what are you gonna talk about in your podcast?" I'll be like, "Oh, where's this one case?" And I start rattling you off dates and shit like that.
And they're like, "What the
"Oh,
fuck?"
we're here for the podcast. What do we want to talk about?" My feet are getting sweaty because I didn't wear socks.
Okay, well, I guess welcome to Don't Probe Me.
Bro.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we were talking about that earlier, too, weren't we? I wanted to... Okay, so Don't Probe Me. How did you want it to be said?
We can say...
Just with like an exclamation. Don't probe me, bro!
No, it's more like a pause, like, don't probe me!
Bro! Yeah, but like, I kind of...
Like, the bro is indicative of the probing is happening.
Yeah. Bro!
Yeah. Like, don't probe me!
Get that out of there!
Bro!
I was more... we'll see how the audio plays through, but this is... Oh, it's like a song? Oh, that's not fun. Not fun. Yeah. Okay.
Not as fun as whoever made it thinks it is.
Yeah, I'll edit that out.
That person thinks they're a champion.
Yeah, that's not cool.
Not at all.
But yeah, it's like a video of this guy like running. I don't know where he's running, but a cop pulls out a taser. He's like, "Don't tase me, bro!" And then he tases him. And I giggle so hard at that.
He knows it's coming, but he just thinks speaking it will make it.
Yeah, just that pure panic of like, I'm about to get fucking tased. Well, guess what? You just got abducted by aliens. And
don't tase me, bro.
Don't probe me, bro. Yeah. Don't probe me. Anyway, I don't know. We haven't even decided what this is going to be entirely about, the parameters in which we discuss things, but it's going to be, I guess, like aliens, Bigfoot. I almost said UFOs, but that's aliens, which isn't. Nah, it's not. It's UFOs, but I got a whole list here.
So think two dumb construction workers who are relatively smart in their own way.
Except you need to lower the standards of your terms for dumb because we're below dumb. Yeah. Sometimes.
And then like take a little dash of political conspiracy and a whole lot of ancient aliens.
Maybe for you. I fucking hate ancient aliens.
Well, I don't mean like ancient aliens as a complete reference. I just mean ancient aliens as like a subject matter.
Yeah. The show kind of loses me pretty hard.
Yeah, I don't know that I've ever watched like a full season.
I think you're better off that way because there's a lot there, and I used like everybody else, like I fell in love with that shit, and I was like, man, this is crazy stuff. And then you just pick one subject matter that they discuss one time, just one,
right,
and investigate it for yourself. You're like, oh, yeah. This is like not at all how they're spinning it. Like the one thing I looked into was the money pit or something. It's like this hole in Canada that's really elaborate. I don't know, like some trap system or something like that. It's like, I forget how deep it is, like 100 yards deep. And it's just like, it's just a tube that we've never been to the bottom of that fills with water from all these different, like, I don't know, pipes or whatever in this random island. And it just floods and like 2 people have died trying to get to the bottom of it. And they're just like, could it be aliens? And then you look into it just like, no, probably not, because of where it is. And like, they're like, well, there's these types of stones that are only, you can only find these like 2,000 miles away. It's like, yeah, man, like people travel, like, right. Especially for that time period, like travel was really common. Or like, well, they found palm tree husks or whatever here. It's like, yeah, these people probably came from that area.
Really reaching hard.
Just like really reaching and like they're like notorious for leaving out information.
Yeah.
Like, and that was a really bad example because I'm a dummy and I haven't seen that in a long time. But
2 dumb construction workers. So.
Yeah, that's true. We're smart in our own way. We're special.
Yeah.
My mom said so.
Mom always told me.
Mom always.
She never did, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Anyway.
Anyway, depressing note aside. So Bigfoot, UFOs. I wanted to get into like psychic medium stuff because I find it interesting. There's got to be at least.
Do we know any psychics?
No, but we should look up some numbers and go do it.
No, we should just have one here. Let's just bring a psychic, and I don't sleep here. We just bring a psychic and a Ouija board right here.
Fuck you! I live here. This is my house. Fuck no.
Okay.
You go buy a house and we'll do all the kind of seances and shit.
First night with you here.
Okay, here's the deal. We'll do a Ouija board at my house if you let me. Oh, I have to look up the name of it. Hang on. Oh, it's like the Lesser Key of Solomon. Yeah, they have like demonological charts of like all these fucking different demon symbols and shit. And it's so crazy. It is wild. And they have like angel summoning stuff. So back to the subject. We can play with the Ouija board here if I can paint a bunch of fucking demonic symbols all over your walls and we try to summon a demon at your house.
That's different. The Ouija board can be carried away from your home.
Yeah, but whatever comes through that Ouija board stays there, right?
I mean, not guaranteed.
I mean, it's not scientific, but you know what?
It's not guaranteed.
I mean, there's no guarantee that we're going to summon a demon, you know? If it makes you feel any better, we could probably try and summon an angel and entrap them. And make them our friends.
That's what I want. I want to read that.
You want to read? Okay, so it's the Lesser Key of Solomon is that, and that opens a whole door.
So you can just buy this on Amazon?
Just a bunch of Jewish magic shit. Yeah, you can buy it on Amazon. You can buy a bunch of stuff. And if you look it up on YouTube, they actually there's videos of people just trying out these rituals. I don't know how they work out. Maybe
that's terrifying. No
right?
wonder our world's fucked up. They're like, oh shit, nothing happened. Next thing you know, Joe Biden's fucking president.
Oh god, let's not get into politics here. I hate everyone equally.
Yeah, well,
you know, and that brings me to this point. Actually,
that was the second ritual. The first one was Trump.
That actually brings me to the point of I wanted to ask you a question, and I guess I'll answer it myself too, since we're both here together. You know, what would it take to fully believe in any of this shit? A UFO, a Bigfoot, or anything? Because I used to think that like heads of government or heads of state coming forward and being like, this is real, meant anything. And then the more you get into like politics, or the older you get and the more you see things, they're just like, all of these people are idiots and they're just as dumb as I am. So that means nothing to me anymore.
You know, I have a really good example of that. When I say the word Afghanistan, what pops into your head? Like culturally, architecturally speaking, what is the landscape? What is the imagery that pops into your head?
Desert and sandstone buildings.
Yeah. Isn't that insane? Isn't that insane? When you have some time, Google pictures of cities in Afghanistan in the 1960s.
Yeah, it's very different.
You'll see women walking around in business suits, well put together, on their way to work, holding down jobs, driving cars, faces uncovered. It's very modern, a rich culture. Yeah, cities that have existed for thousands of years, but everyone in America, at least for some reason, just has this image in their head that the entire country is like adobe huts and that's the deserts. That
actually should prove that like your general like racism towards those cultures is just fucking stupid, because they weren't always the way that they are now. Like they have a rich culture, they have all of this. It's really cool. It's really amazing. What you're seeing is the result of shitty government.
Yes.
And shitty abusive religious figures.
But I think that's like one thing that recently for me was an example of that, you know, where you just can't trust the imagery.
Yeah.
Because you can be led, like you said, by people in positions of authority, whether it's a news anchor or a government official, public release, or anything that has a semi-official stamp of a news source to it.
Yeah.
I used to be the same exact way. It would just project it out there. You'd see it on the paper. I mean, obviously you knew tabloids were a thing.
Yeah.
But if it was like the New York Times or Forbes or something like that, and you saw it on the cover sitting in the line at the grocery store, you just took that right there. Like, that's a fact. That is, well, what I just read is fact.
Yeah.
You know, and that for a long time, I just never had a reason to think otherwise. That there'd be, why would it be anything other than that?
Yeah. And even if you remove political incentive, or if you were to just paint everything black and white, no matter what the evidence that's brought forth about UFOs, aliens, Bigfoot, anything, it's so speculative that we can't get anything. We can't get anywhere. It's just a roadblock after roadblock after roadblock. Even at the very foundation of these ideas, there is no proof. You can't prove God. You can't disprove God.
Right.
Unless an alien comes down and lands in my backyard and he's like, "What's up, dude? Let's go." Even then, I'm not going to lie, I would question my sanity. Like, that'd be the first thing that comes to my mind. It's like, okay, when did I accidentally eat psilocybin mushrooms?
Right.
Like, what the fuck did I put in my sandwich? Or alternatively, we had this discussion earlier. Am I dead?
Right.
Did I fucking die?
Right. Would
Like,
not instantly. I mean, I would 100% be on board. Like, okay, let's figure this out. But
I would immediately walk on and be like, all right, homies, let's go.
But also still be completely questioning everything.
Yeah, the entire time I'd be like, there's no way this is real. I'm insane.
Point, because I was about to say, I guess for me, any number of those things would have to be a bona fide personal experience. And I guess for that experience to be that, I would need to return from an experience like that and be home for an extended period of time without ever just waking up from a coma in the hospital.
Right.
You know, like,
Yeah.
I would always be like, man, I would live the rest of my life like, holy shit, am I just gonna like wake up one day and be in the hospital like all completely fucked up? And
oh my God,
it's been a dream and a coma.
Yeah,
like, can you imagine that? Like,
dude,
having a complete total experience and everyone's telling you you're crazy.
Yeah,
everyone's telling you that it never happened. That no, dude, you just went hiking and you were gone for 4 or 5 days and we found you.
Yeah,
and you're like, no, I have this tremendous experience, and everyone's telling you that you didn't, and you're the only one that had it.
Yeah.
And
that actually reminds me of a story that I heard not that long ago. And this guy had this beautiful wife, a son on the way, and every day he'd wake up and like there was like some kind of weird thing about this room, and it was just like enveloping his mind. Like basically like he would go home every day and this lamp would get like, it was like he was like hallucinating in this like, and it would just like envelop his day. So day after day, like he quit his job. His wife was really concerned about him. His son was really concerned about him. And he like spent weeks in this room, like just trying to figure out what the fuck was going on. And he literally woke up on the fucking ground, like bleeding and like had a head injury.
What?
Somebody beat the fuck out of him with like a hammer or something like that. And he never had a wife. He never had a son. That whole, like he literally woke up and had a whole life. It's like, I don't know if you ever saw Rick and Morty, but there's a fucking game in there where like you like play a whole life and then you die and then you come out of it and you're like fucking traumatized.
Yeah,
that is literally.
Like, oh, you manage the carpet center? Or what?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But this guy literally lived that. He had to go to therapy for having lost his wife and his son that never existed. That's a real thing. Isn't that fucking insane? So like
crazy. That's like the worst interview ever.
That would be my first thought immediately. It's just like, there's an alien in my backyard. I obviously just got hit in the face with a hammer.
Like, like, oh man, somebody snuck in and like. But like, can you imagine the level of psychosis that could induce? You know,
dude, the thought of that puts me in a psychosis.
Like, I had this experience with this alien or this Bigfoot or this Yeti or whatever, and it's like, okay, somebody cracked in the back of my skull with a hammer, and then, but at some point you realize that, like, okay, if that's true, and I'm stuck here in this existence, and my body is twitching on the ground, then whoever did that is in my house with my wife and kids.
Yeah, right.
You know? Yeah. And so, like, you're living the rest of your life, and your wife and kids are right in front of you. They're real people. They're, you know, but you believe they're a construct, and that you're stuck in this space while this horrible thing may or may not be happening to them on an ungiven transfer of timeline. You know, you have no idea. If you, in your mind, you're convinced that you're in a construct. Yeah. But you don't know what the trade-off is if you're going to wake up and it's 2 seconds later and the dude's still walking down the hall, or you're going to wake up in a hospital and you have no idea what transpired. Right. You know, the level of psychosis that it can induce. And I think that actually, like, that actually brings up something to me is, like, why I can't relate to people. Because I almost inevitably 100%, 99.99999% of the time, the first time anyone's just like, I saw an alien, or I was abducted by an alien, or I talked to a ghost, or I saw a ghost, my immediate thought is, you're full of shit. Right. Immediately. For someone who loves the supernatural and loves all this so much, I am the most skeptical fucking person that you will ever meet in your entire life. I'm a judgmental asshole because it's usually, I have the same knee-jerk reaction, but it's usually in a more volatile and manner based on the individual's appearance. Like, you've definitely just consumed so much MSG that your brain is full of holes. Right. Or, you were conceived by alcoholic meth addicts.
Yeah. But like, I think the thing that throws me off so much is the confidence that these people have. Like, it just comes back to your point. It's just like, I was absolutely abducted by aliens and they told me all about their master plan. And it's like, first off, you should see a therapist, not a news organization. Right. Second off, what makes you so sure that you're not just completely fucking insane? Because if any of that happened, we just talked about this. If any of that happened to me, my first thought was like, yeah, I'm crazy. Like, I'm going to go see a therapist. I'm going to go just try and settle the waters a little bit to make sure that it's not my brain jacking off and fucking losing reality.
So hear me out.
Oh, no.
Hear me out.
I've had way too much coffee right now.
You're living in a construct right now.
This has all occurred to me.
You're going to wake up tomorrow. Your name is Anita. You're obese, morbidly obese female, and you work at a tuna packing.
Wow, you're really painting the whole picture here.
You slipped, fell, and knocked your head on a roller. You're going to wake up tomorrow and find out that your job in construction,
none of this is real.
None of it is real. What if that was a thing? What if you woke up tomorrow in a woman's body and somebody told you that like everything that you had experienced in your life leading up to this point until you woke up tomorrow was literally just a fabrication as a result of that injury?
That makes me think of something actually really hilarious. What if that was reincarnation? Like, I died, like, right now I had a brain aneurysm and I woke up like midlife of someone else.
Oh my god.
Like, everyone's NPCs until they're filled with like a soul.
That's where
like, you just get filled in when you're 9.
That's where crazy people come from, apparently.
Yeah,
some
right.
Some people just like handle it, adjust. Some people compartmentalize.
You fucked up.
Like become the new person.
You fucked up your karma so bad you get put into a person that already exists.
Oh my gosh. And that person already made all the worst.
Yeah, you don't get a new clean slate. You are now a fucking obese drug addict.
They just erase the existence of some horrible person.
Oh my god.
And plop you in their body like, hey, this is what you earned the last time around.
Yeah. And that person did even worse, so now they're a fucking squirrel or something.
Right. Yeah. Not even a good squirrel. They're a city squirrel.
Oh no, they just eat
on trash.
Yeah.
Eating Wendy's wrappers.
But okay, let's reel it back in. ADD brains going haywire.
So I would say I don't know.
So that's the thing that kills me so much.
Parameters of what it would take to believe something. So we basically just
it's a wormhole, man. It's a wormhole.
We basically just admitted that we
don't believe
there's a portion of each of us that believes our current lives are a construct. Now. So how can we commit to believing in
anybody else?
Yeah, philosophical enigma for ourselves here. We can't commit moving forward, or we just look dumb.
I mean, we're gonna look dumb anyway, so let's move forward. So one of the big things, like one of the big guys that came through, he just had a documentary on Netflix, was Bob Lazar. Bob Lazar, dude. At first, it's the same thing with Ancient Aliens, man. It like Bob Lazar comes forward, and I'm just all about it. I was like, I want to know everything. Like, oh, he worked at Area S4, which is an area next to Area 51, and he worked on a UFO, and there were like multiple other UFOs that he can talk about, and he can go into depth about the science and all this shit, which means nothing because it's all speculative. Like, it's like, oh, it's fucking anti-gravity. I'm too dumb to understand anything past that.
Right.
And he doesn't go past that. He's not like, well, here's the diagram of how this all works, because it's all speculative. It's like, well, this is how it works. Really basic information. So like,
I could tell you,
and he is a really smart dude.
Behind how a starship works right now, and the only reason you think I was full of shit is because we work together.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, if I wore a suit and descended from the sky in a spaceship, I could sell it.
See, but that's the thing. Like, I heard this not that long ago. Yeah, I feel like this is the same thing. Bob Lazar is just full of shit. But it's like, you get thrown back to 2000 BC. And you're going to tell them all about the crazy shit, right? Yeah, all the crazy shit. And then their first question is like, all right, how do you make it? And you're like, no idea.
No fucking clue, man.
I just know that we went to the moon in a rocket ship with, I think I heard that it was like solid fuel.
It's got to have like a metal hole. They bring you a piece of copper. You're like, oh no, that ain't gonna get
I don't know, man. But yeah, it's like, you can tell them all these things. Like, that's what Bob Lazar is doing. It's like, this is an anti-gravity machine. What does that mean? Well, it means this, that they use gravity. Okay. what does that do for me?
Right.
And then the further you dig into it, it's just like, I was watching, well, he was on Joe Rogan. And the whole time he was like, I don't like doing interviews. Interviews make me uncomfortable. And then I saw him on Ancient Aliens posing dramatically for them, doing an interview with them, talking about how, you know, his whole alien story. It's like, first off, if you hated interviews, you also wouldn't be posing dramatically for Ancient Aliens.
Well, and people hit different like personality streaks, you know, like at the time of Ancient Aliens, all that fame and stuff could have been brand new. You know, I'm playing devil's advocate here. Yeah. Could have been brand new, and he was playing into it and liked it a little bit, and then just really discovered over time. Like,
this shit's like season 18, dude.
You know, never mind. But and like, see, that goes to show you how much I know about that shit.
I mean, I don't know anything about it. Like, we just watched one episode recently, and it was Bob Lazar's episode, and it kind of turned me off to Bob Lazar because he talks about how he has no financial gain from doing all this. He owns a tech company. Oh, okay. He owns his own technology company. Yeah. So like, there's no such thing as bad publicity. It's like, that's the thing, right? So if everyone thinks you're a complete nut, but you prove to them that you're intelligent enough, you get your name out there, you're making some money off this. I don't give a fuck.
Everyone's heard of you.
Yeah, everyone knows your name now, and they all know that you have a technology company, and it just throws a wrench into the whole fucking thing for me. And okay, Bigfoot. Let's talk Bigfoot, bro. What would it take for you to believe Bigfoot is real?
Man.
Okay, and let's clear the slate.
Yeah, we gotta wipe.
Okay, we gotta wipe this whole thing clean. We have to believe in Bigfoot, and the thought of psychosis isn't an option anymore. Neuroses or psychosis isn't an option.
Well, no, that is one of my Bigfoot theories. That what if Bigfoot is actually a fungus?
A fungus?
Yeah. It's just a fucking plant. Like, it's a little mushroom. People get lost. They get super hungry, and the fungus looks delicious to them. So they eat it, and they go on this trip where they all see this Bigfoot and blah, 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 and they forget all about the fucking mushroom because they saw the Bigfoot, and that's the mushroom's defense mechanism.
I don't know, man.
To not be harvested is like the world's greatest hallucinogen ever.
I love the theory, but I'm not convinced.
And like the tapes, you know, the sounds that people have recorded are actually just people that are currently on the shroomage, you know, that are on the fungus. So, but like for some reason, there's something in the DNA of the fungus that makes it so everyone has the same or relatively same hallucinatory effect of this Yeti Bigfoot creature.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna go no, but I love the creativity.
Okay, yeah,
I mean,
it's a fever dream thing I came up with sitting on the back porch with a pipe. So
I mean, that's fine. Yeah. We're open to any and all.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, there might be a little fan fiction.
I love on that. That's totally fine. I love that shit. It's not the wildest theory I've heard. I heard.
Oh, certainly not.
No. There was a thing that I came across, and the title of it was, So it's Stephen Quayle, who I don't really want to look more into, but he says Bigfoot creatures are transmorphic demonic entities, which is a funny way of saying he's a demon that changes into things and teleports, which is
so
one of the craziest theories I've heard.
I mean, doesn't it basically make it Skinwalker?
I don't know, man.
I guess not with the teleportation.
Yeah, I don't know. Personally, my thought, one of my more popular theories on Bigfoot is maybe he's a tulpa. A tulpa being, I think that's the right word. A tulpa is like a thought energy creation. Enough people believe in something that it becomes, basically. It manifests out of pure thought energy. If 10,000 people believe that Bigfoot is real, Bigfoot will be created out of that thought energy, which is interesting. I like it. But at the same time, he could also just be, if he were real, he could also be just
fungus. I mean, I'm just saying. Still not the craziest thing on the table, man.
Not at all the craziest thing on the table.
Craziest thing on the table.
But he could also just be not real, first off. He could also be just like some leftover. He could be a giant. That's a big theory. I really want to get into giants. I want to do an episode on giants because giants are like a big thing right now.
Yeah, giants and dragons.
Look up the Book of Enoch. Goes real deep into giants being created out of I think they're called the Nephilim or something. The giants are called the Nephilim. But it's angels, the fallen angels come down and mate with humans, and they create these giants, and they're really evil creatures or whatever. And there's a lot of like weird sightings, and that doesn't mean anything.
You know what's crazy about that though is that if you ever do like an ancestry or 23andMe and all that, like everyone has a tiny percentage of unknown DNA.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And they just write it off as being Neanderthal DNA. But they straight up tell you that they don't know what it is. And there are people who have theorized that.
Bigfoot fucked their great-grandma.
Perhaps that his Nephilim DNA.
Oh my God.
Over, because there do seem to be larger concentrations of it in people who commit terrible crimes.
Oh, that is interesting. I like that. We should explore that more. Okay, so we're going to put a pin in that one for sure. Okay, so let's see. Time travel. What do you think about time travel, Andrew? Oh, he walked away. So we're just going to do a pee break. Also, those mini oranges taste like shit.
They do? I don't think it tastes that bad.
Have you had one already?
Yeah.
I took them to work. Maybe I just have COVID or something. Because it tasted like nothing.
That was one thing. Like people after they had it reported that oranges would taste like peanut butter or just literally taste like feces.
The fuck kind of world do we live in, man?
I don't know.
A world where oranges taste like feces is a world that I don't want to live in.
That's a stark, bleak
landscape. A dark, gray, the road type of world that I don't want to be in.
Probably like a really high suicide rate.
That's understandable.
Yeah.
Time travel. There are so many examples of shitty time travel stories of people trying to get away with like we'd have to do like a whole episode on it because I'm not convinced. All those pictures are like
maybe even like a mini. I don't know if we could cover it in one episode. You know, we might have to hit like several. What about like dudes like that guy that got hit by the car in New York City?
Oh,
you know what I'm talking about? It's like we'll have to look it up. It's a famous case, and it happened like back in the early 1900s.
Okay.
Back with old school cars and stuff like that, where this dude was just like trucked over in the street and killed instantly. I feel like and people were like, "Oh, he just came out of nowhere." And basically, his clothing, his papers, and his wallet, his money, like everything was like 100 years too old for the time period or something. It was all authentic.
Oh, we're about to run out of time. Hold on.
Okay.
And for anyone who's made it this long listening to this, we're both sincerely sorry because we just listened back because apparently this has a 30-minute max. So we listened back to some of it, and I'm sincerely sorry that our microphones sound like wet dog turds wrapped in Christmas wrappings that were made out of dried human skin.
Being stepped on by meth head hobo feet.
Yeah. In other words, we know our microphones suck, and we don't have any soundproofing up. It'll get better with time.
And experience.
And
just gotta let us get a few strokes in before we hit that rhythm, you know.
Before we really hit our stride. Anyway, we were talking about time travel. I'm really sorry for all the things clanking on the table, but we both have ADD and we just grab things and start fucking around.
Yep.
That sounded gay. Anyway, that's not what it seemed. So
strictly platonic relationship with this beautiful man.
For now. So ghosts. Yeah. Smooth segue, I know. I want to talk about ghosts.
I wholeheartedly believe in ghosts.
I am not sure. Big surprise there, huh?
I mean, that's fine. But as we talked about before, like what it would take, I already had that experience.
Yeah.
For me, I had the personal experience that I was like, that just fucking happened.
That's what fucking kills me is I know 8,000 people. I don't. I probably have like 2 friends. But I know a bunch of people, and every single one of them, every single person is just like, oh yeah, I've had a ghost experience, like totally nonchalant, doesn't matter. And I want to see one so bad, but it eludes me. I have like no connection to that spiritual realm whatsoever. It's like I'm fucking blacklisted.
To be clear, I did not see anything with my naked eyes.
Okay.
I just had an experience. I heard something, but basically, my parents' house, one of them that we grew up in, you went straight to the bottom of the stairs, and if you turned right, it went into the laundry room. Mm-hmm. And if you turned left, it went into one of two bedrooms. And if you turned left again immediately, you went into the second bedroom right there. Mm-hmm. And none of those doorways had doors on them. They were just all open doorways. No curtains, no doors, nothing. And if the lights were off in the laundry room, this is in the basement, and there were no windows in there. The one basement window on that side was walled off in like the furnace room area. And so it was pitch black in there. And especially with the egress window being in that bedroom, if the lights were off in the laundry room and you were sitting on my bed by the egress window, mm-hmm. looking in at the laundry room, it was just pitch black.
Okay.
And I remember feeling like for a long time when I was in the basement that I was being watched or being looked at, being observed, mm-hmm. you know, just that this feeling you couldn't shake. And it was enough to make me uneasy, but not enough to make me scared. And I always felt like it was coming from the laundry room when the light was off.
Right.
And I just kept writing it off like, you know, don't be a little bitch, don't be a scaredy cat, whatever. And I got 3 older brothers. None of them ever mentioned anything about it and all this jazz. And so something gave me the bright idea, some movie or some story, probably a Louis L'Amour book I read or something that was like, face your fears. And so I'm sitting in the basement, and I'm sitting on this old creaky-ass bed, old steel frame bed that we probably got from like a thrift store or something. And you could not move the thing without it just creaking and groaning all over the place. And I'm sitting on that bed, and I remember just really that feeling of being watched was so strong, and I just stared straight into the darkness, and I was like, you don't have to stay in there, you can come sit by me. Mm-hmm. And I sat there staring at the darkness. I didn't feel like I was being watched anymore, and then I just felt really silly, and I was like, whatever. And I was sitting there on the bed, and I turned from looking into the darkness in the laundry room to look back at the book that was in my hands. I believe it was an encyclopedia. And as I was looking back at the encyclopedia, the bed made the unmistakable, very loud creaking sound that it made when you sat down on it. Mm-hmm. And I pretty much just shit my pants. But I did not have I didn't feel like anything was threatening me or feeling malicious. And after that, I never had a feeling of being watched in the basement ever again. So you could very easily chalk it up to like some psychic experience, you know, something that I had in my own mind, you know, I conquered another thing in my own mind, and it wasn't an actual supernatural experience. There's so many different things you could chalk it up to.
And that's the thing about it could be so many things.
But for me, that shit was so real.
Yeah.
Like it was just so like, it's just staring dark. It's like, you don't have to stay in there. You can sit down if you want to. And then the bed creaked. And just the way that it creaked, goose flesh, man. Yeah. Like, and the hair stood up on the back of my neck and everything. But not in a terrified way. Like, I didn't run screaming. I did almost shit my pants. But it was just like, holy crap. That just happened.
Yeah.
You know? So that was my experience. That's why I believe in, like, ghosts and shit. I don't think that anybody knows or wouldn't ever claim to know, like, oh, there's this kind of ghost and this kind of ghost and these demons come back, and if this person dies in this day, I don't know the inner workings of any of that shit. I just think that people probably portions of them, memories of them, echoes, whatever you want to call it. Like, I just don't think everything stays where it's supposed to be all the time. Nothing's flawless.
And that kind of makes me think, like, I've never really had like a solid experience. I've had some like weird things happen, but like I look back and it could be because I was with one of the instances I was with my cousin, and it totally could have just been him. Like it could have been him freaking out and slamming a door when I thought the door got pulled out of my hands.
Right.
Totally speculative. I was really young too, so it was so long ago. I do get the feeling of being watched frequently when I'm in the basement of my work, and a lot of people have experiences down there, but I'm constantly down there alone by myself, and I've yet to see anything. I worked down there. I built them a little, like almost like a cabinet around some water pipes because the inspector had to have something covering it. Yeah. And I was down there by myself working in this weird dark corner for hours. Nothing ever happened.
Yeah.
And that kind of like, well, this is a bummer. Like, and it just like, for me, it really sucks. And I almost think that because I want it so bad, nothing's ever going to happen. Like, I have to let go of that want in order. But it's this thing I've been getting real into, like Zen Buddhism and shit too. It's like, to reach Zen, you cannot want Zen.
Right.
But like, it's like this weird thing. It's just like, to reach a life of no desire, you have to desire not to desire, and that kind of defeats the whole purpose. So now you can't reach desire, right? Like desireless desire, and it's just this weird, like, fucking
Catch-22.
Yeah, it's just so dumb. It's so irritating. But I don't know. I have thought a lot about it, but like, I don't know if they're like souls that are left behind. That's like the common thing,
right?
Like people with unfinished business who then like fuck off to the afterworld when they like say I love you to their loved one or whatever.
Yeah.
Or to me, like, that could be possible. I don't know. It seems legit. But another thing that I kind of have a thought of is like, what if it's just like, and it comes back to the psychic energy thing. It makes me sound like I'm some fucking like medium or something like that. Like, I don't believe much of this stuff, but it's just kind of a fun thought process. Is like, what if it's just, because a lot of the time these places that are haunted are like brutal murders or horrible things that happen, and you're seeing the people that died in horrific ways.
Yeah.
I don't know if that like releases some kind of like crazy psychic energy or something like that imprints on reality or something like that. So like, you're not seeing an actual conscious, you're not seeing an actual conscious body. You're seeing the result of a lot of energy being released at that point in time, because like emotions have a lot of energy to them, like life does in general, I guess. I don't know. I'm out of my element here talking about this shit. Right, but like, maybe it's making like an imprint in our dimension or whatever like that. So you're just seeing, because a lot of the time when people like a big theme in ghost occurrences or whatever, it's a repeat cycle. So you see the same woman walking the same thing, doing the same thing all the time.
Yeah.
So maybe it's just like
say something to
imprint.
Support that real quick though, is like, did you ever like growing up walk into the house and before ever seeing your mom or your dad or whoever, just instantly know that there'd been a fight? Like, you could just tell. You just walk in the house and there was that vibe. There was that chemistry in the air. You could just tell. You're like, oh, man. And then as soon as you see someone and talk to them, you find out, there was a huge argument or something like that.
And to solidify that, like, it's the same thing as like, I was just thinking about you and you called me. Like,
yeah. And that's what I'm saying. It's like, and that's what I think, to reinforce what you were saying, is like, maybe some of those things, whether it be a brutal murder or a lot of people dying at once in the case of battlefields and things like that.
Right.
Like, there was just so much raw energy all at once that something got stuck somewhere. It's like, we don't know how everything works, but if we look at everything that we know how it works, tripping over my own words, but basically there's flaws in everything. Everything has little glitches and little things like, oh, okay, well, we got to do this to improve this process to make it work better, because otherwise, from everything. So maybe it's just little pieces of that energy getting caught in the folds of time and space. You know, in the same way that, little bits of metal get caught in a piece of machinery or whatever. It's just nothing ever works 100% the way that it's supposed to.
Yeah. Or maybe that's part of it, the design anyway.
Oh, right. Yeah. Maybe that is too. Maybe it's there for a reason.
It's all speculation, but like, that kind of speculation is a lot of fun. And that kind of brings me to a couple things. Like, it brings me to the point that I wanted to bring up that I completely forgot I wanted to talk about, but we don't know anything. We know nothing. We like to think that we know all of it. We know everything. Bro, we know all the answers. And the biggest thing that I've been getting really into is ancient civilizations.
Oh, yeah.
And how little we really know. It kills me. I want to do we're going to end up doing 5 episodes on that shit, because it is
a lot.
It is bonkers.
Dive into it. And especially you go back into some of the stuff that they're finding now that predates what we have previously thought to be the oldest civilizations by a lot.
Like one example is Göbekli Tepe.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Göbekli Tepe, the time that we dated everything back to, the time that was, humans were supposed to be hunter-gatherers. That whole area, that whole region was hunter-gatherers. That means they foraged for berries. They didn't build anything basic more extravagant than a fucking tent.
Yeah.
That was it. That was all of it. And then all of a sudden you uncover an entire like temple.
Yeah.
It's massive. Like it would easily take up my house and like all this huge stone structures, beautiful stone
of well worked.
Yeah, beautiful stone carvings, and they're dated back to that same time period. So what happened? Why are we suddenly seeing this huge jump in advancement? But that also comes to the point of they're looking at the pyramids differently now. We've always kind of speculated that the Sphinx was thousands of years older than the pyramids.
Yeah.
Which is a mystery in itself.
Yep.
But now they're talking about water erosion on the pyramids, which they speculate, certain people could speculate, that date the pyramids back instead of 3000 BC. You're talking 20,000 BC.
Oh, wow.
Way back. These pyramids could have been built a long time ago. And that also kind of it brings me back to like the same Ancient Aliens isn't the only ones pulling the same bullshit of like leaving out information.
Oh, yeah.
They're like, I've been watching a lot about this and reading a lot about it, but we're constantly told the mainstream kind of belief is that they carved all these 10 stone blocks, sandstone and granite, with bronze tools. And by the way, all the bronze tools that we've ever found in Egypt.
Why have I never thought about that?
all of the bronze tools that we've ever found in Egypt would fit on this table with inches apart from them. And this is a small table. We barely have a chessboard and a computer on it.
Yeah, there's like a chessboard, a computer.
That's it.
It's cups, a candle, and a tiny rose pot, and shit's falling off.
Yeah, and like that's it. They're like maybe 30 or 40 tools. That's it. And like
I've never even thought of that to be carved with bronze tools from the speculation of working in construction and knowing firsthand how fast tools, the bits and
just
fasteners wear out, especially in a process of breaking and carving through stone.
Yeah. And sandstone's not the hardest, but granite.
I mean, you could argue that makes a good excuse for not finding many tools left, but at the same time, that theory shoots itself in the foot because for that amount of mass production, they would be producing the tools required.
Exactly.
And so that you would think you'd have an oversaturation of tools in various conditions, from brand new to well worn.
So one of my thoughts is, first off, there are videos online where you can find these people that completely debunk that you can do this with bronze tools. They get a bronze saw, which also we've never found. We've never found a bronze saw. They cut it. It's like this huge saw that's like 8 foot long, and they get one guy on each side and they pour sand in it to help cut a little bit better. And it legitimately took them days to cut through the sandstone and get 3 inches.
Oh, wow.
Through a 5 foot sandstone block with a bronze saw.
That's a little rough.
And they tried carving it with a hammer and a chisel made out of bronze, and you get like maybe 10 minutes worth of work, and the chisel's completely destroyed.
Right. So because you'll see guys split massive stones just using chisels, wedges and hammers.
And that's incredible, but it's not beautiful. It's not a beautiful sheer cut, though.
Pretty precise, and you can see how it could be cleaned up, etc. But it's also not with bronze chisels, hammers, and wedges.
Also, like, I'm sure you can clean it up and make it look good, but you're talking about seams on these 25 ton, anywhere from 25 ton to legitimately 100 ton stones that are so perfectly cut. You literally can't fit a human hair between them. You cannot fit a razor blade between them. The entire length of this 30-foot stone is perfectly cut. Perfectly. Not to mention, how the fuck did they get it up there?
That's crazy.
So one of my thoughts is...
Wow. I've never really thought about the construction aspect of that. Just building... I mean, I'm building a radius bulkhead that's like maybe 120 feet long right now across the front of a building, and just getting that to stand plumb straight and level in the wind with structural steel, is a thing we're doing it. It's going just fine. But to think about using Bronze Age tools to create that level of...
So this brings me to my theory, and we'll do a whole episode on this, but my theory is, think about it this way. Bronze is like a pretty raw metal. When it's that concentrated, I guess, it's not going to deteriorate very much, right? Because we find raw ores all over, like it stays intact for a long, long time.
Yeah.
Right. Composite metals don't. Right? Am I right? It rusts away, it disappears, it dissipates.
Yeah.
I ain't no scientist, but I was thinking about this when I was on my job site. I'm on a job site with a tower crane. It's a fucking 180-foot tower crane. It's all metal. It's steel, like composite steel. It's not anything like, it's steel, rubber, and that's it. Basically, there's a little bit here and there,
just stacked on top of each
other. Now, if we were to just completely abandon the city, in 100 years, what would be left? You'd still have a crane there. It, like, imagine it is on the ground or like whatever. Eventually, it's going to fall over. It's going to rust enough, especially in our climate where
it's going to fail.
We get a lot of rain. We get a lot of wind. Winter's pretty harsh around here.
Wedged perfectly in between two of the largest freshwater lakes in the world.
Well, the crane's probably the worst example. Go to anybody's house here, like pretty much anyway, because we live out in the fucking nowhere. Somebody's got an old beat up 50s car in their backyard getting eaten by nature.
Look at my 2010 Ford Focus.
Yeah, right.
Look at the rockers on that thing, man. You probably kicked the frame in half.
Park a fucking car over there.
Yeah.
Let it sit for 100 years. What's going to be left? That's a car, man. That's pretty advanced.
Yeah.
There's not going to be much left. Now 1,000 years.
1,000 years.
What's going to be there in 1,000 years? All that shit's going to be gone. All of it. And if not, 10,000 years.
Right.
10 fucking thousand years in the rain in the winter. And not to mention the pyramids, when they're hypothesized to be built at 3000 BC or whatever, it was 12,000 BC that the whole entire Sahara was a lush, like, forest jungle.
What?
Yeah. And that's true. That's actual fact. Like, the Sahara wasn't a desert. It just wasn't. And so if they built the pyramids back to 20,000 BC or whatever, that would explain the water erosion, because it was a jungle, basically. They got a lot of precipitation.
They were built in a jungle just like the ones in South America.
And picture that. So 16,000 years for all of their advanced tools and metals to deteriorate into a jungle, and then it changes into a desert, which eats away shit just the same.
Mm-hmm. If not,
you know what I mean?
If not worse, whatever's left of rusty stuff just being eaten away by the corroding sand and wind.
And this is the part that kills me too, is just like, everybody's like, oh, they totally did it with bronze stuff. Don't even worry about it. Like, okay, well, how they lift 100 ton, which is like 1 million pounds or some shit.
What do you think about the melted steps?
Melted steps.
Yeah. In the top of one of the pyramids.
Maybe I haven't gotten that far.
In the top of one of the pyramids, there's like a step and they say it's like foot traffic or water erosion.
Okay.
But if you look at a picture of it, it clearly looks like the stone was melted and pooled. Like, I mean, that's what it looks like. And again, I ain't no scientist.
I ain't no scientist.
And they say it's water erosion and that it does funny things, or wind, and a combination of wind and water erosion, just the way that it like was blowing into the entrance or whatever, and it does funny things. And sure, maybe that's the explanation. But looking at it, it's crazy. It looks like it was melted. And people have used that as an indication of nuclear war.
Oh, I've heard that theory before.
And the theory of ancient nuclear wars and predating ancient Egypt is...
Hold on, I have a serious question for you.
Yeah.
Are you a Scientologist?
No.
Okay, moving on.
I actually don't know anything about Scientology other than...
Tom Cruise is a Scientologist?
Yeah, that's pretty much all I know about
I would like to say, first and foremost, do whatever the fuck you want. To anyone out there, I don't give a shit what you do. I'm not gonna belittle you for believing in anything. You want to believe in Xenu, the whatever fuck lord from Scientology.
The whatever fuck lord.
Fucking worship the moon, worship the birds that come to your bird feeder. I don't care. Do whatever you want. Become a fucking raccoon for all I care. I don't care what you want to do. Do it. Like, no judgment, dude. We're all just trying to make the best of our life. But Scientology is pretty silly. It's worth looking into. But they believe, at least the higher ups, I guess, because it all got leaked, that there was like a nuclear war in the past like million years or whatever.
Well, I mean, Oppenheimer claimed to have reverse engineered the bomb from ancient Hindu scripture.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing. Yeah. I'm going to have to... Okay, I got to look more into that.
Yeah. The Bhagavad Gita or something along those lines was the name of it, and he carried a copy of it around with him. And in this ancient translated scripture, they give descriptions of weapons being used by the gods.
I feel like
the description of these weapons being used is identical to the descriptions of soldiers describing what they saw at Trinity Sands testing grounds and what people at Hiroshima
the glass,
and Nagasaki
right?
saw.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying, like, eyewitness accounts that are written in the scriptures are identical to the eyewitness accounts of these guys that witnessed it at the testing grounds. And then the glass found at the testing grounds has also been found in deserts all over the world, some of it being hundreds of kilometers in diameter in a perfect circle.
Ooh, you wouldn't get that from an asteroid impact, I wouldn't imagine.
I mean, I ain't no scientist.
But that seems fucked up to me.
Yeah.
So many questions, so many things to cover. We have hopefully a lot of episodes to come if we don't fall into some neuroses or psychosis about the reality of being.
Just 411 the fuck out of here.
Oh my God. Nothing would make me happier than to be abducted by aliens. I'd like to throw that out there right now.
And then to be able to return and continue this podcast and genuinely just not give a fuck what anyone thinks.
No, I don't think I want to come back.
I mean,
I'm sorry, Andrew. I know you.
I guess it depends on what it looks like on the other side.
Yeah. What if it's shitty?
That's what I'm
really
saying.
Bad. What if they're only abducting us because they like need food?
What if we're just being abducted by like a shitty broke ass circus that needs a couple of weird creatures to throw in a cage and drag through the slums, struggling to make money while we barely get fed?
Yeah, I'm into that. That seems like fan fiction. You got some fan fiction to write.
I mean, nowhere in there were dildos involved. So
hang on, I missed a step somewhere. What happened?
I thought fan fiction was all porn.
No. Fan fiction is like, I wrote my own Star Trek.
Because I'm pretty sure I referenced Bigfoot fan fiction earlier.
And we are absolutely going to cover that as well. Just a heads up to anyone listening. There is 100% an actual Bigfoot erotica section in your local bookstore. It's a real thing. You can buy these fucking books on Amazon, and I just want to explore that a little bit.
Should we start a book club?
Yeah,
when we get some listeners,
people can sign. Let's do a book club, and we got a book of the month.
Like once a month, we'll get online with these people on like a Skype meeting or something, and we'll discuss Bigfoot erotica.
Oh my God! Exclusively. If this podcast gets big enough, we are going to shut it down and start an exclusive Bigfoot erotica podcast. Nothing else will be discussed.
Oh, no. That won't even be a podcast. It'll just be like a speakeasy. You'll have to show up to an address and knock a code on the door, and then, it'll be live.
We got a Bigfoot erotica cult coming.
Yeah.
We both just looked at each other like with an epiphany.
Hey, we figured out our calling.
We got it. We got this going. Was there anything else we want to discuss before I fuck the fuck off of you? Let me look at my list. I do really want to get into the Titanic.
Of terrifyingly large birds of prey.
Ooh. Also, I can only find like 2 sources on this piece of information. I can only find a little bit, but there was a time in history where a man performed an exorcism on the Loch Ness Monster.
What?
Yeah, that's a real thing.
We need to find.
Yeah, he got in a fucking boat and went and committed an exorcism. Performed an exorcism on the Loch Ness Monster. I'm not sure.
A cousin that resides in the Vermont area.
Okay,
and
that's pretty close to Loch Ness.
They live. Listen.
Okay, I'm listening.
Near Lake Champlain.
Ooh.
Area. Do you know anything about Lake Champlain?
I've heard of it. I've heard a little bit about it.
I think I'm saying it right. I don't know.
Yeah, we have to fuck off.
Anyway, they have their own creature there.
Yeah. Also, there's a connection between UFO spotting Bigfoot, and oddly enough, spotting Mothman, all causing pink eye. And on that note, I'd like to say thank you for listening to, even if it was no one, I don't care.
Don't probe me.
Don't probe me, bro.
Bro! Ah!